Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on May 20th, 2022 at approximately 6:21 a.m. PST. Time to get the house in order, people. If you haven't already done so, let's get started on the real short range of it. The first couple of steps you do. Now understand, the house is the physical building in which you live. Okay, or in the case of running a business, the house refers to the physical building and the operations thereof. So, first step, take this neat little sign and make a copy of it. Okay, not necessarily in wood. I've got this one in wood. This obviously sits in my office where I can get a hold of it. Okay, the four most powerful words in any language I've come across. Okay, is these four in combination. I am worth it. Those four words are the strongest words I've come across this lifetime in any language to help rebuild self-motivation, self-worth, self-esteem, self-drive. You get the idea. Okay, those four words. Now, I've got the wooden one here. Now, that wooden sign I literally took a sheet of plywood and took a magnifying lens down to the park and burned that. I didn't use any electricity or anything. It's all literally natural. Okay, aside from the fact it's a chunk of wood that went through a processing plant to get it there. Now, that being said, I've got another sign sitting on my fridge. Now, by the way, I keep that one in my office where I work on my finances, where I work on my writing, so that I can make sure that everything is running smoothly in my office, in the brain of the house. Okay. Now understand, you yourself are your own cerebral cortex for your house. But I've got that one in the office where it's right ready to take a look at so I can keep my finances up to stuff. Now I'm very happy to say this morning when I went through my finances, my credit card is now clear. Okay, and until I get the next credit card in next month, I won't be using it because I'm aiming at seeing a zero balance on my credit card so I know exactly what's going on. Now, with that in mind, back to the sign. You put one sign in your office wherever you're working on your finances. That is a critical point. Okay, you put a second sign. Now, my second one is up front on the fridge door. Okay, but it's done on card. It was printed on cardstock and then laminated, and it sits on in my kitchen on the fridge. Now, here's the thing about the fridge, and this is why I say put it there. Okay, the fridge is the one appliance in the house that virtually everybody reads. Even if all that is on the front of that door is a little emblem saying it's from GE or whoever your fridge was made by. Okay, but the other thing it does, because it reminds you you're worth it, it also reminds any member of company that comes in that they are worth it. Okay, I've got a third sign that says I am worth it on my front door. On the main entrance to my apartment. Okay, that way, every time I come in, I know that this whole package I'm working with, I am worth the effort. And anybody that comes in knows they are worth the effort. And it's like I tell people when you come into my house, if I let you through the door, you're welcome to whatever food I've got. Okay, I still have a problem with this idea of, when people say make yourself at home, no, but thanks very much. Okay, but as far as food and coffee goes, if I've got it, you're more than welcome to it, or I wouldn't be letting you into the house. Okay, so you get those three signs up. Okay, very, very strongly recommended. They work like a charm, and I can tell you that because that's exactly what I do. Now, I am no specialist in that. I'm certainly not trained in this field, but I've got 59 years under my belt. And it took me 59 to figure a lot of this out. Hopefully this will help you a little better, a little quicker. Whoop, don't need that one. That can go back where it was, because I'm not dealing with that today. This is step number 2. Up here, because we're talking household income, okay, this says we have legally acquired a minimum of $3,800 by May 31st, 2022 at 23:59. The 23:59 right here, that is 1 minute to midnight, specified as military time. Below that, I've got, because I run my own home business, I've got Innervoice Enterprises has legally generated a minimum of $700 by May 31st, 2022 at 23:59. Now understand, first of all, the 38 is what I'm aiming at for my house. I require 2,500 to run my household, but I'm aiming at 3,800, and every month I end up bringing it up a little further. Okay, if at all possible. Now, this 700 here, that is included inside the 38. That's step 2. Okay. Now, the reason I do those 2 steps is because, well, frankly, they work. Am I perfect? By no means. The reality is, I am not a multimillionaire by any stretch of the imagination. Actually, I wondered, I couldn't even be. How do I put this? Am I a multimillionaire? I'm certainly not. Okay, but I do have at this point where I was sitting with, I was sitting quite literally with the last paycheck of every month, sitting there going, am I going to have enough to cover rent? Now that I've covered cleared my credit card, plus what I've got in the bank, without putting any strain. I hate the hiccups when they do that. Without putting any functional strain on myself. Okay, I have now gone from having 1 paycheck ahead of being on the street to 4 months of being on the street. That's not a bad climb. And that's where you can get to. And this is why I say the tools I offer are the ones I personally am putting to use. Now, I came back to this world, to this lifetime, for one primary purpose. And that is to remind everybody in existence, that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Okay, it really can be done. Now, the whole catch to it is we've got to get away from this idea of fearing that we're on the edge of everything collapsing, which on its current path, by the way, is not that far from necessarily the truth. But here's the thing. I'm in the same boat you're in. Okay, and up until the beginning of May, for my consulting, I was charging $180 a month, $180 an hour. Now, the reality is that was great, but it also wasn't doing much. Okay, and I got thinking, we keep pushing prices up. All that's going to do is it's going to drive the cost of living up. Okay, and the inflation costs and all of that is going to go through the roof. The only way to stop that from happening is to bring that cost of living down. So what did I do? I took, and this is just what I did personally, on May 1st of this year. Okay, so we're talking just about 3 weeks ago. I sheared my cost from $180 an hour to $90 an hour. Now, $90 an hour. I mean, I've been doing this for 49 years now. Okay, and if we count public interaction. Okay, in '76, I started doing this in a professional standpoint. That's not entirely true. I was 23, so it would be in 1986. I started doing this professionally, as in generating income. But first of all, you get those two signs set up. Okay. Now, take a look at where your office is sitting. Okay, at the state your office is in. Is it running smoothly? Is the energy running properly? Is your desk clear? Well, the reality of it is, I've still got paperwork I'm going through because of the fact I was working on it. So right about now, I've got a couple of things sitting here that I don't desire to be there. That can go over there. But I've got my computer set up right here. Question: if you're working on a computer, is your computer desk clear? Okay. Is your working station clear and available? If it is, that's fantastic, because that's the first step in getting the brain of your house working. Get the energy in it running smoothly. Now, what am I doing here? Well, things like this is my salt collection. I have a problem. My salts are off, my whole system goes funny. So, that's what I work with. Okay. Now, this little item here, and I've showed you this before. Okay. This is my hard copy for the primary book I'm working on. I'm working on 32 at once. But this is the one I'm using for the Yldrbac Chronicles. Okay, the idea is to generate a stable income with the books I'm writing so that I can actually sit back and just do that. This station over here, it's a little cluttered, but I've been working on painting and what have you, which is why. Okay. Now, this stuff here, I gotta get this out of the way because it gets put there because that's the desk I'm working on next. But the reality of it is, what I do. Don't mind me, just dropped a receipt I didn't want on the floor. So, like I said, right now, I've got my computer desk is totally clear except for one sheet of paper. Well, one stack of paper, and that's this. This is all blank. But I talk about this, the third step in getting your house running properly is this list. Now, I don't expect you to read it, but you can hopefully tell there's something written here. What you do with that is you start off with writing down 3 goals. Well, technically, you start off with 1. Take a look where you're sitting and ask yourself, what do I have to deal? What is not sitting where I desire it? Okay. So, you write that down. Make these lists 15 minutes to half an hour in length. And the reason for that is it will help you keep organized. Even if you suffer from what is it? ADD. Even if you suffer from ADD. Okay. If you can focus long enough to get that list down, it will help. It is not a cure for ADD. It's not a cure for anything. It simply is a tool that I personally use. Okay. Now, when I talk about myself being a spiritual guide, the reason for that is because the tools I offer are ones that if they apply to me, which we're running a household, applies to me. Okay, these are tools I personally use so I can personally say, I know they work. This is not a question of my saying, go do this, go do what I tell you, I'm going to go do something else. Okay, that's why I don't discuss much about the way that I look at the medical system, because I certainly do not follow a lot of the medical practice, medical guidelines. Although I am very happy regarding medical, I went to a nutritionist and explained to her what I was drinking in the way of coffee. And of course, the moment she heard that, it's like, you got to cut back on your coffee. I says, well, you might want to understand. The average person that I'm aware of puts 4 tablespoons of coffee into a 12-cup pot. Right? In my case, I put 1 tablespoon into a 12-cup pot. Well, the nutritionists, the people that we turn to say, okay, you're trained. Am I doing this in the right way? And she looks at me and she goes, wait a minute. You're only putting 1 tablespoon into a 12-cup pot? I says, yeah. I said, that's just, I don't like the flavor of the water. She goes, carry on with it. She says, it says at that level, you're not getting enough caffeine to do a thing to you, but you're getting enough water in your system to actually operate properly. So you get your office turned around. Okay, get everything cleared off. The only thing on my office right now. Oh, I know what those are. The only thing sitting on my office desk at the brain of my house is my three monitors, the laptop, my telephone, and my printer. That's it. Oh, and of course my coffee. Like I keep certain things handy, so if I had a mobile camera, I'd show it to you, but you don't need to see it. The point being, that's got the energy in my house. Even under my desk is clear, except for one paper shredder and my garbage bag. Yeah, because I've got my recycling bin over under the other desk. So this is a question of get the energy in your brain working properly, because that's how you get your finances turned around. That is the key factor. Once you've got that, now the next step in getting the brain sorted out, of course, is clear your floor. Now it may sound silly when I'm talking about get all the clutter out of the way. Like I've got a couple of shelves over here that you can't see. Okay, they're actually over right about here. Kind of like you can't see my printer. I've got some shelves over there that I've got to get sorted out. They've still got junk on them. But I've got the majority of the area. Your brain is not going to run absolutely clearly anyway. Okay, I don't know about yours, but I'm going in about 14 different directions at once. And that's probably on a slow day. But you get the energy in your brain working first, in the office working first. Clear everything out. Okay. You keep this list active. Now I've only got 3 things. Yeah, I've got 3 things on my list right now. I've got the journey that I'm recording right now, which by the way is a live recording, which means when I get done, I double check the date, then I post it as is. Okay, you get all the hiccups, all the quirks, all the twists and turns and the double backs, everything I'm doing gets recorded. I don't bother with this idea of, let's edit out that word. This is the way I am. Okay, if you ever do run into me in person, you'll find I talk exactly the same way, although in all fairness, if I'm standing up, I don't move my hands around as much, I don't think. But I've got the journey being recorded, I'm recording right now. Then I've got to post, I'll have to post it. And then I've got an errand I have to run. Now, here's the thing. Okay, when I get these done, when I get these tasks done, you check one off and write a third one down immediately. Okay, and then where do you start? Well, where you start is the easy part. Right where you're sitting. Okay, but like I said, you keep these to 15-minute to half-hour jobs. Okay, 15 minutes to half an hour, and the reason for it is this. Let's just take a look at the idea. Now, where the heck is it? There. This one here. Okay, most of what I talk about I've got in written form. Okay, this one covers the backbone of how to really start moving your own life, on how to gain success. And I mean, the quickest success in the book. Here's a great way to start off your day, and it's the one that I look at personally. Okay, when you first wake up in the morning, okay, the first thing you do is wait long enough for your eyes to settle enough you can see. Okay, now of course, needless to say, if you happen to be blind, that would be a long wait. So in your case, you wait long enough so your hearing kicks in, so you can function, whatever senses you require. Once they focus, because the first thing most people I talk to, it's like you wake up, you go, I don't want to get up. I just don't feel like getting up. The biggest obstacle in your life is yourself. It's your own stubborn disposition and your own tendency to procrastinate. And I will tell you, if you're filling your head with fear this, fear that, fear everything else, you're not going to have a whole lot of motivation to get up in all likelihood. Okay, so as soon as your eyes focus, throw yourself out of bed. Push yourself out of bed. You may not desire to get out of bed. Do it anyway. Get up, go and do what you have to with the washroom. Okay, because you certainly want to take care of that little issue. Then you come back, okay, and you make your bed. Now, of course, everybody's like, well, I'm just going to get back into it, and, I don't have anybody else with me. Why do I bother making my bed? The reason being is it helps get the energy. It helps signal your body that you're now in operational mode. You're now ready to get the day going. Okay, it's a psychological trigger. Now, I am no psychologist, but I do have 59 years of going around in circles going, I don't want to move. I just don't want to get up. But I will tell you, that's the first thing. Now, this is one of the reasons why I'm going to be upgrading my wardrobe this year. Okay, because most of the clothing I have, well, I wear it until I wear it out. Right. But why throw it out? As a matter of fact, I was talking to somebody the other day regarding a vehicle. I was looking at it going, I know I'm going to need a new vehicle, but I was looking, I'll get state of the art, and no. I talked to one individual that pointed out, and the way that they put it is, look, if you buy brand new, 20% of the value is going to come off it, just like that. So I got thinking about it going, yeah, I'll get one a few years old. It'll certainly be younger than 20. But I will go after a second-hand vehicle that has the little baubles that I do desire. Right. Which will make it a whole lot newer because, well, let's face it. The one thing that I could really use is a backup computer. Assuming, of course, I don't short the poor thing out. But I will take a look at some of those options over the next little while. But you get up, first thing, you make your bed. It gives your body, you make your bed and get dressed, or do it in the other order, your call. Okay. But you make your bed, you get dressed. Okay. If you have a morning exercise routine, do that, quite frankly, before you get dressed. Okay. And in all fairness, you should probably do that before you have your shower. For obvious reasons. At least I think they're obvious. Okay. So by the time you're finished in your bedroom, the bed is made, your floor is clear, you've done your exercises, you've done what you needed to and what you required in the washroom. Now you're ready to go. Head up front. Now, the reason I say start that off is because getting out of bed is the hardest challenge that you're going to run into. You're up against your own stubborn streak. Okay. Now, the thing about it is this. This particular little book, I covered all of that in. It's all in short chapters, and the reason I did it that way was because if you really feel you have to repeat yourself, that you got to reread the chapter, they're only 2 or 3. I think there are 2 or 3 pages apiece, right? But it covers these tools, and the reason I did that was so I don't have to, so that people that are striving to get started on changing your life, there is an easy way to do it. Okay, and it's a small enough book you can keep it with you as required. Now, I did the same thing where it comes to this side. Where'd it go? This one. Okay, this is the same idea where it comes to looking at opening your own business. Now, I am not a business advisor, at least not trained. About 30% of my clients come to me because of business. Okay, and these fine little tools I've been showing you, like this one, amazingly enough, it's a simple sheet of paper. Okay, and anybody truly interested in improving their situation, this is not the only tool. But if you truly desire to change your life, you're the one that's going to have to be doing the work. Okay, but that first challenge of getting out of bed, that is the starting point. And we're all in the same boat on that one. We all have this neat little issue of everybody has to start the day at some point, and we are all, regardless of your background, regardless of how you got to where you are right here, right now, and this is the only time that you can get anything done. Okay. Again, where it comes to the list, make certain that once you get something done, you check it off, add another list. And the easiest way to do it is when you get the one task done, take a look wherever you are. Okay. And write that list and write that new thing down. If you have to be in the kitchen when you finish one task, take a look at the kitchen. Is there anything there that is not up to speed? That is not the way you desire it to be. See, the key to success is this. You don't have to know where you're heading. This is the biggest fallacy. You do not, that I'm aware of, you do not have to have your life plan set out so you know where you're heading. What you have to have in order, in mind, is you have to be able to identify what you are not content with. That's the key to success, right there. Regardless of where you're heading, if you take a look at where you're standing right now, find one thing you're not content with. Okay. By doing that, you alter the energy in that thing you're not content with. And by altering that thing, when you eliminate all the things you're not content with, all you're left with is a life that you are content with. Okay, and remember, you're the one that has to do the work. But by doing that, by eliminating all the things you're not content with, that are making you feel less than adequate, less than successful, by eliminating the things you're not content with, what you end up doing is you're left with a life where you're content with all of it. That, in my opinion, is right there to success. Money itself is not an indicator of success. I have talked to many, many, many business people or millionaires that were absolutely miserable in their life. Okay. I've talked to millions of, not millions, I've talked to literally thousands of people that were paupers that were absolutely tickled pink with their life. Okay, I don't mean the ones that are that are on the street. I mean ones that live in a house where they're warm, where they got food, that sort of thing. Now, with that in mind, I will be back again tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.